Hey everybody, this is Trevor. Thank you for coming today to watch my show. And today I wanted to talk about the CBDC, and that's short form for a central bank digital currency and why I'm against it. I'm just going to bring up a few points. I think there are more points against a government digital currency provided to its citizens than there are for pros for having a central digital bank currency. I'm going to point out a few things that I think are bringing in the digital currency and that are and it's putting us into a cashless society. So first, I want to point out about a month ago, PayPal came out with a policy. If you talked about something they didn't like, that they were tinkering with the idea of fining people $2,500. And what it made me think of was, well, if a government had a centralized currency, a digital currency, that it handed out to its people, and completely went out and tried destroying all other forms of currency, whether, cash, gold, silver, tried getting away from all that and really hammering citizens into using a digital currency. And my thought was, and I'm linking this also to what's going on in Canada right now. We have the trucker convoy that happened here in February 2022. There's a commission hearing right now, and there's politicians and people from the police and CSIS. That's the secret organization in Canada, kind of like, I guess, Canada's version of the CIA, I suppose. I don't know, FBI. They're being grilled and they're being asked why they initiated an martial law via the Emergencies Act, which used to be called the War Measures Act. And they're being grilled on that. So my thought was, and back then too, Trudeau said, hey, we're going to freeze bank accounts of the truckers, people at the protests, anyone donating money. And I just, in a society that we do still, to some degree, deal with cash, and I'm going to get into why cash in the last 2.5 years is being pushed out. As hard as the government can, it's pushing cash out. But what I look at is, if we had a complete digital currency in Canada or United States or Europe, perhaps every country has their own digital currency, or we might get like what I'm sure Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum would like, is a one world currency digitally. But what happens with people who say something the government doesn't like, or they do something the government doesn't like, or we just talk about something, we express our natural born right to freedom of speech, and that gets us in trouble. And the government does exactly what PayPal did and says, hey, those 10,000 digital credits that you have in your bank account, you said something we don't like, we're going to take 2,500 credits out of your bank account. Or we're just going to shut your bank account down for 10 days or something. Whatever the government wants to do, it can do. Whether it's your country's digital currency, or, heaven forbid, we have just a one world digital currency. What happens when you don't, you say something and then we become a society of fear. It's a society that we live in fear, where you can't, you don't know what to do. So you bury your head in the sand. You don't do anything. And I think with the central bank's digital currency, it makes it so much easier for the government to go in and say, you know what, this guy, this girl, they said the wrong thing. Like, again, I said, we're going to fine you 2,500 credits. 25 of your digital currency credits are gone. And, depending on what things are, to buy food and whatnot, depending on how much that could wipe you out. Perhaps it costs 1,000 digital currencies to go and buy just a regular a shopping cart of food. So I am really against the digital currency for that. Now, I'm not against digital currency per se. I personally have never invested in any of the cryptocurrencies. Obviously the big ones, Bitcoin. The only thing I'll say about Bitcoin that disappoints my investing is that I wish I had taken $15,000 back in 2010 and bought $15,000 worth of with my fiat currency, bought Bitcoin, okay? And I would have turned that around in like 2017, and I would have sold every $15,000 worth of Bitcoin. I would have sold that in like 2000. I would have started selling it in 2013 when it really jumped up. But I would have sold it all, transferred that fiat currency back into such things as silver. Here, a nice 10-ounce bar of silver right there. I would have just stocked up on this stuff. Okay, that is real money. That is real currency. This is money. It's silver. It's pure silver. That's 10 ounces of silver. That, my friends, is currency. And I believe that the government, even though I'm against fiat currency, I still feel like, a society that we should still be at least on a cash society that is backed by, say, gold and silver, like a gold standard, which the U.S. got rid of 50 years ago. And, basically every country in the world had to follow suit and go on, the U.S. dollar. That was, every country around the world was forced to do that. And how does the U.S. government back up their fiat currency? With their military. So certainly their dollar is backed up by something. It's not a peaceful market backed up dollar with gold, but there you go. So that's so far. I hope I'm explaining why I'm against a bank digital currency. It's not sound money. It's absolutely can be taken from you at any whim of the government. You absolutely say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, not toe the narrative. You could be at jeopardy of having those digital currency credits taken from your bank account. And how much can they take? I don't know. Maybe they take enough to make people think twice. And that is not the cornerstone of a free society. Okay, if we're going to have a system of government, they should govern, and government's going to control our money. We as a people should make sure the money is backed in a peaceful way. Okay, gold is a great way to back it. Okay, and if we're gonna have like the cash notes, I really truly believe that should be backed by gold. Okay, not backed by a military. That is violence. Okay, that's not a peaceful way of doing business. And I want to do business with people. I want to do business with people from China, India, Africa, United States, anywhere, with my neighbor, locally, regionally, globally. I want to do business with people. And I just freely, voluntarily do business with people around the world. And I would love to do that. And I think the best currency to do that in would be gold and silver. Now, silver is better for something like a, locally, you want to give a couple ounces of silver. But, I mean, as we're gold, I think that trading gold globally and nationally and whatnot, regionally, for bigger purchases and whatnot, would be a better solution. But still, silver, I mean, you can do it as well, too. Yeah, so that's my take so far on digital currency. I really do feel that they, look at the PayPal case that happened just a month or two ago here, and they threatened their customers with a $2,500 fine for saying the wrong thing. And in a free market society, PayPal pays the price for that. They dropped a few $1 billion just within a few days. Now, government can do that, and we have no choice, do we? What's our choice when government tells us what to do? Think about your choice. Think about your choices. What do you do when government comes out with this? And unless we really push back on this, people, and I really hope you do, because nobody pushed back in the last 2.5 years against government and their economic ruining of countries around the world with COVID mandates. There wasn't very much pushback about then. I certainly hope you people will push back when it comes to your actual money that you're making. Okay? I really hope you do. Really hope you push back on this. Because just it's my thoughts on this. But I truly think a government would have a lot easier time financially crippling you when they control everyone's bank account with digital currency. And the more they have the digital currency, the less and less likely we're going to use cash. Now, here's something I want to point out, and this is something I've noticed over the past 2.5 years with the COVID. When you go to the store, now, bear with me, this sounds very, very small, minute, but it's such a big way of getting people to accept a cashless society, and that's with the plexiglass barriers that the cashiers used between themselves and the customers. We were told that that's to help slow the spread of COVID. You've got a little plexiglass shield in front of you. I guess that's going to, that just viruses and germs and bacteria and alike don't have no idea how to get around that. And it was, I think it's a complete joke. Okay, that's a complete joke. The plexiglass barriers, that wasn't there for COVID. What those are put in place for, and they're still in place here in Canada. What the plexiglass barriers are there for between the cashier and the customer is to help get rid of the cash flow. Okay? Because that little machine's between you and the cashier and the plexiglass, it's hard to reach around there and give them cash. But it's completely easy to stick in your debit card or your credit card and pay for your goods. Okay? And that's why when I go down, I want to pay for cash. I just want to reach around the plexiglass. But I want you to stop and think about it. As crazy as this might sound, I truly believe that is a great effort on government's part, the Klaus Schwabs of the world, all politicians, even giant corporations like your Walmarts and whatnot, who are still using these plexiglass barriers between the cashier and the customer, and that's to get rid of cash. Okay? We have been pushed to use our debit cards for at least 35 years that I can remember here in Canada, and credit cards came in 50 years ago. We're pushed to use those. And I'm telling you, if you haven't thought about it or noticed it, think about it. Those plexiglass barriers are a great way to stop us from using cash. Because we're also told, don't touch things. Don't touch things, you might get sick or something. So people are like, oh, I don't want to hand over cash. They don't want to touch it because it could be dirty, this and that, right? So I truly believe that, a lot of these COVID measures were to end us from transferring, cash, using a cash. And government wants us to use, a digital currency that's going to come in, the central bank digital currency. They're really going to push it, and I hope people push back on it. Okay, I don't like using fiat currency, but I do feel it gives us somewhat more freedom than having a digital bank that a government can easily shut down a lot quicker than they can with cash. And again, if we're going to have the government controlling our money, then I would surely think, I do think that fiat currency backed by gold is a hell of a lot more peaceful than it is having it backed by a military. So that's my thought on that. I know that sounds weird. Oh, the plexiglass thing. I know it sounds weird, and I've been struggling to talk about this for 2 years now. But I truly look at it. It actually physically it's more difficult to hand the cashier cash. So we're forced to use the debit card. And we're even more ingrained in our minds to use cards. So that's my take on it. The plexiglass barriers, and they're still up here in Canada. Uh, most places you can go into now, business wise at least, you don't have to wear a mask. You know, so why do they still have the plexiglass barriers up? They should be down. There's no need for them anymore. There was no need for them anyways. I haven't got a clue on how a little, plexiglass barrier was supposed to stop anything, but what it did stop though was just the convenience of handing someone cash. You kind of got to reach around or go this way. The cashiers, well, they're all afraid to touch anything, even though they're touching all the goods, and then you get the goods in your bag, and it's ridiculous. Okay, we're humans. We touch. I mean, I don't know how you get along without handling goods and stuff. Anyways, that's my take on it. Plexiglass barriers are not there for your safety. They're there to help get rid of cash and just further us using the debit and credit cards. And those debit and credit cards are going to one day they'll still be there. We'll have or the cards might even go away. Because they want that digital currency. They want you to use your cell phone. Everybody will have a smartphone, and you'll just it'll be even more convenient for the government. You won't even have a debit card anymore. So digital currency, not a good thing, people. Please, please, please investigate the government central bank digital currency. Again, it's like PayPal. So please think about how PayPal threatened people with fines for saying things they didn't like. And just gives government a great idea, So, okay, that's my take on the central bank digital currency. And hope you enjoy it. I did change the name of my channel from Social Dilemma to Pioneer Spirit. I just happen to like it better, and I'm gonna go from there. So everybody's hope you're having a good day and stay free. Okay, bye bye.